Venezuela is taking back migrants that the Trump administration is deporting. They've released American prisoners. Maduro doesn't seem like the type of person to be doing things just out of the goodness of his heart to help the United States. Is this administration going to recognize Maduro as a legitimate leader of Venezuela?
There's no talks about doing that. No one's discussed it. We don't recognize him now. What he's agreed to is very simple. He's released Americans that should never have been in his prisons. They were hostages. They're not prisoners. They're hostages. He takes them for trade. And he's going to accept, especially these trained at agua criminals. We'll see if he actually does it. I hope they do. We got to get these people out of our country. They came from Venezuela, came through a bunch of other countries, wound up here, committing crimes in the United States. He pushed those people out of his country. He emptied out his jails and prisons and pushed them into other countries and towards the United States, and he's going to have to take them back. I think leaders like Maduro, no matter how tough they try to be, they respect Donald Trump. They know this is not a guy who's going to send you a strongly worded letter. He will take actions. I'm not going to talk about what those actions are, but he knows and they know we have many options to inflict serious damage and harm on the Maduro regime if they don't do what international law requires them to do, and that is accept their foreign nationals who are illegally in this country, especially those who are criminals. That's the priority, the criminals.
And that's a lot of part of your conversations down here in Central America as well, getting people to take, governments to take their nationals back. But will they also take back people from other countries that we can't deport directly to?
Well, I think we'll leave here today with two things. First of all, President Bukele here in El Salvador has always taken back their nationals. It's been a very strong partner of the United States. The Biden administration treated him very poorly. Probably the most popular leader in Central America, maybe all of Latin America in terms of public approval ratings. And because he made this country safe. He really did. And very popular. So he's always been willing to take back his nationals. He's taking them back. He'll continue to do so. And I think he'll agree to take back these MS-13 killers. He's built this prison system here to house them. And I think he's willing to take back these trained at agua criminals that are not El Salvadorians. But he's willing to house them in these prisons that he's built as well, because he's an ally of the United States.
And we'll see that in other countries as well, do you think?
Well, every country has a different level of capacity, but he has become sort of an expert in the region at dealing with crime and gangs in the street. Look, El Salvador is a country where 5 years ago, 6 years ago, you couldn't go out at night. You couldn't be out after half dark. Mm-hmm. There were people here, I used to, when I last here 2 years ago, you would talk to vendors, street vendors. They would tell you that every week, some kid would come by on a bicycle and collect protection money from the gangs. If you didn't pay them the protection money, they'd cut off your daughter's ear, they'd cut off your son's hand, they'd kidnap them. That's gone. All that extortion is gone. He basically wiped up all these gangs and put them in these prisons, and they're gone. Yeah. This is now a safe country. He's a leader in that. And it's, you see what it's done in El Salvador. I hope other leaders will follow his example. But he now has the capacity to help house some of these people because he's a partner and an ally of Donald Trump. Joe Biden treated him very poorly. Mm-hmm.